Okay, it is still Monday, October 9th, 2023. We are here for round two. We just finished our Survivor stream with our buddy Mikey, and we are ready to get into the most recent episode of the Challenge USA. I got to tell you, this has been a fun season.
Awesome.
I'm excited for the final. I know we're still going to lose a couple more people, but whoever makes it in, I think there's going to be a really good final. And I'm excited to talk about this with you guys. So let's kick it off, eh?
Let's do it.
Okay, I am John Dunphy Clark, standing Miss Cassidy Clark. I am joined by my ride or dies, Mr. Kyle Petty Underwood, and Miss Gina Morgino.
I don't have one. I gotta find somebody to stand real quick.
Did not change her family name.
How is it? Not a real
Stan.
How is it not Martinez? You could easily just be Gina Morgino Martinez.
You're so right. That is my name.
Come on.
You're correct.
Very glad to have people here. I saw Liz commenting, right? I saw Kyler. Always good to have Kyler here. Kyler keeps us honest. Kyler knows like everything. So it's always good to have Kyler here. Yeah. Okay. So let's get into this episode, eh? So
getting your Bowie Jane on too early.
No. Thank you for changing my name.
You're welcome.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
You're welcome. Do you know her from Instagram?
Oh my gosh. What?
Do you know that woman from Instagram? You're welcome. Do you know her?
No.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to share it on like the social. She's so great. Like she shares like a lot of like positive thinking things, and she's like something about like let your attitude decide what your altitude is. All right, go out there and be great in their face, okay? And she goes, "You're welcome." That's how she ends like all her videos, and it's wonderful.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna put her on. She was just on the Jennifer Hudson show, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like she's kind of like she's really hitting mainstream. So
very good, very good.
I thought that was going to land a little better than it did. All right, had some.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm familiar with her work. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, from now on, it will land. It will land the way you want.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll share it. I'll share it on the socials.
I just want to do this. Get this out of the way real quick.
Oh no.
What's that?
All right, there you go, Gina. Get it out of your system.
Oh, thank you so much.
I actually have another surprise for Gina tonight. Actually,
courtesy of the Clark family.
yes. That's right, Miss Cassidy, just killing it this season. But we started this episode off tonight with Chris coming back from his fourth elimination win. He is such a beast. We are on the brink of this final. I thought he was a dead man walking for week after week after week. He has managed to win every elimination.
Coming back. When I say under, you say wood. Under.
Wood.
Under.
Wood.
Yes, let's go.
Oh my God.
Absolute beast. I mean, I suppose it's possible that he gets thrown into another elimination, but like we saw him in this episode win the daily challenge. Everybody else was gassed out, by the way, in this daily challenge. Fessy was over there throwing up at one point. Chris looks like he's ready to go. Doesn't back down from anything. Looks like he's in great shape. I think he's going to
y'all whipped him into shape. Kept throwing him down in that sand. They kept coming back.
Yeah.
So he's back and he's fit. If he wasn't trained before, he's trained now, and that's y'all's fault.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's go, Chris.
I really think that if he makes it to the final, if he makes it through the next episode, I think Chris is going to win this whole thing. So at this point, and I'm still standing strong with DESI. I know Michaela's been looking really good lately in some of these competitions, but Chris and DESI won the daily challenge in this one, and I think they might be the winners of this whole season. I'm kind of calling it right now, Chris and DESI, I think.
I'd be so happy. Oh, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
That'd be a satisfying end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sleep well that night. Sleep real good.
There were a couple of things before the daily challenge, though, because I want to talk more about that because there was a lot going on in that daily challenge. But two of the things that I really wanted to point out. So one was Michelle obviously betrayed DESI and Chanel and also Michaela, even though Michaela didn't get a vote. There was a conversation where it was going to be Chris, Michelle, DESI, and Chanel all voting for Tori to go into elimination. So that would have been 4 votes on Tori. But when we got to the arena, we found out that only 3 people voted for Tori because Michelle decided to switch her vote at the last minute and vote for Chris instead.
She's not in.
So what do you think of this whole dynamic here? This really put Michelle on a bad path. We saw actually DESI and Chanel were very upset. DESI almost, I think, came to tears when Tori kind of confronted them, being like, so what was the deal? Like, I won 2 daily challenges. I protected you guys. You guys protected me for like a week, and then it's just over. Like, and you start voting for me. So all of this was very interesting to me. Like DESI and Chanel being torn in this position, but Michelle was taking a lot of heat for her decision not to vote for Tori. Like, what did you think of that? I know it's a betrayal, but I feel in a way like DESI and Chanel also betrayed somebody by voting. I always feel like Michelle gets the heat more than anybody else. Michelle, like, I don't think she always makes the best decisions, but I just feel like she doesn't do things that are all that different from other people in the game. And it seems like it always comes down on her way harder than anybody else. I don't know.
But honestly, no, I don't disagree, but like I think she deserves it harder. And like my issue with Michelle at this point, like I actually am a Michelle fan. Let me just like preface this whole thing with that. But like the thing with her is that she makes a decision and she doesn't properly own it. Like, well, she owns it in the sense of like, oh, well, I'm playing the game. This is what the game is. And it's like, you're not wrong, but then like, you can't expect there to be no blowback. That's not the end of the conversation. Just because you say, oh, well, we're all playing a game and this is what it is. I'm doing what's best for me. Okay, but that doesn't mean that these people don't get to be annoyed about it. And like that's the part of like Michelle is always trying to play the victim in a way. I don't know why you're so mad at me. Well, because you lied. You have the right to, but that doesn't mean that I don't get to feel a way about that. So like
absolutely,
she turns me off like for that reason. It's like, you're not getting anything that you don't deserve. You're getting the same thing that you're getting really the same energy that Tori brought into the room when the conversation was with DESI, Chanel, and Michelle talking about, well, who were the 2 that put those votes on me? Yeah, it's the same energy, and they said, well, yeah, we did it, and Michelle was just like, well, I don't know why you're mad. And it's like, just say you did it, and then we're not going to move on, right? Obviously, things change, but.
See, I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, because there's different sides to this, and you can see people's sides in all these situations, both sides. But like, it's just funny to me because at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is that Michelle betrayed someone that was trying to betray someone else. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this layered betrayal where it's like, Michelle was put in this position where like DESI and Chanel didn't even want to vote for Tori anyway, really, because especially he's been talking about what Tori did. It's like Michelle just did what DESI and Chanel, like what they really wanted to do by protecting Tori. Like, so it's like you betrayed the betrayers.
Right. It's an extra layer to this because they were kind of acting in a manner that you could clearly see DESI did not want to do, but she did it because that's what she thought everyone else was doing. So then you end up not doing it for the same reasons why she didn't want to do it. And you're just like, why are you mad at me? And it's like, what do you mean? Why am I mad? Of course I'm mad. And like, oh, it's infuriating to watch. Like, it really is. It's so annoying.
It's wild. The other thing that I just wanted to point out was that Josh was in a very good mood when he realized that he had made it to the top 5 of guys in this season.
I got very nervous.
I honestly thought that he was going to go home in this episode when I saw that. I still think that he's in trouble.
I got very worried as soon as that edit started. I said, "Oh,
Like, just the fact that we saw that, because then we saw him at one point once he was the nominee. Like, you know, he was started crying and talking about like, if I come back, you know, if I'm saved tonight, I want to go in next time and go up against Chris and take him out. I have to prove myself. And so I'm getting like these vibes that like Josh is going to be the last.
I know.
He's going to be the last one eliminated before the final.
Right. It
I will
sounds like
be
he's
so,
getting
I'll
that.
cry. I will
He's
cry.
getting like the Anissa edit.
Right.
Because
Right.
even
Exactly.
before all of that, like one of the first things we saw in the episode was him talking about like his family and like, you know, his heritage and how important it would be to win for that reason. And then, you know, like later on we hear him talking about, no, I have to earn it. I have to earn it. I was like, you don't have to earn shit. Just stand over there and be quiet and let yourself get out there and it's fine. People do it all the time.
Right.
It's also like it's going to be really interesting too, because like we saw him in this episode talking about like how he wants to go up against Chris, but I don't know. It would be so poetic if it was like Josh is on the brink of his first final and it's somebody like Fessy that takes him out or something. Right before the final, you know, like
satisfying.
I will. No, I'll be so upset. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Let's talk about this this daily challenge. It was called Kyler's got something here. Tori is that girl. Kyler says she walked into a room, gave some side eye, and everyone starts crying and apologizing. She is the face, whether we like it or not, and everybody knows it. Can't really argue with it.
I hate that it's correct, you know, because Tori's entire approach into this conversation was like just so cringy to me. Like you're walking in here like, okay, so who did it? Who's gonna fess up? Because you know I'm Queen Bee, and it's like, just stop it, just stop it. I'm not so sure that you're Queen Bee in this arena, because like, listen. I want to see a showdown between Desi and Tori. I want to see a showdown between Michaela and Tori. I am not so certain that Tori is an absolute shoo-in when you're talking about being matched up with these ladies. And it's like, so this attitude that you have, like as if somebody owes you something, like she's walking around here like you're Johnny Bananas, and baby, you're not. Like you're still new to this. You're barely a pre-COVID ad to the challenge. Like, so stop
like, it's driving me nuts because literally all of the vets are doing, they have this sense of entitlement of like, how dare you try to put my name down? How dare you turn on me? How dare you try to keep me from this money? And it's like, we are all playing for the same money. I don't know why you have decided that you deserve to be there more than everybody else. Like,
right,
you're not guaranteed to be there.
Right. Let's not begin. The beginning of Tori's challenge career was like non-impressive, like literally nothing to write home about, not even worth the postcard, the postage, anything, like to send a letter home about it. All right, because there was nothing to say. Like all of a sudden, like you won once and you were a formidable competitor for maybe 2 seasons before that, and all of a sudden you think you're queen shit. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, especially like when we talk about how like, because didn't we figure it out recently that like she's only really been around since like 2017, but it feels like she's been playing this game for 20
what I'm
years.
saying. She's like barely a pre-COVID candidate for like anything challenge related. Like enough.
And I liked Liz's comment about wanting a new face, you know, to emerge here, and I think that's why it's so good that this new season coming up is the battle for a new champion, because I think that we have some really good candidates to be the new face of, you know, the challenge, in people like Olivia and Nerisse and, you know, some of these other competitors that we're going to see on the next MTV challenge season. I think could easily become like right up there with Tori, if not exceed her as the face of this game. So
we're ready.
So, but all right. So let's talk about this daily challenge a little bit, huh? Brain squeeze. This was pretty wild. They were at some kind of like fortress where they had to run through these tunnels. This place had so many little nooks and crannies. There was a point where like Josh and Fessy just like jumped through a hole in the wall. And nobody knew. They had to go through this, find puzzle pieces, and then build some kind of structure. But nobody knew how many puzzle pieces there actually were. You just had to run through this labyrinth and find your pieces and hope that you got the right amount. A lot of people thought it was 7 at one point, but we found out it was actually 8. And it was Michaela that really discovered this.
Deflection queen.
Yeah. All of the vets, of the vets were in the dark on this. Every one of them. But Michaela figured this out. I guess because DESI was the one that told Chris that there was an extra piece. And so Chris
I was
had a huge
living for
advantage.
Michaela. I was living for Michaela, looking Bananas dead in the eye and being like, no, there's nothing down there. And then as soon as he walked away, she's like, beep, boop, 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 and like collected the bag.
Yeah.
Back out.
It's also worth mentioning that they were supposed to be working together in some capacity, right? Like there was a conversation happened where he was like, "Oh, I don't stab people in the back. I stab people in the chest." And she's like, "Oh, you want to work with me? You want to work with me?" And they had that whole thing. And then first chance she gets, she's like, "Nah, ain't no more pieces."
I will say though, what was very confusing is like, in order for her to go back down there and get the last piece, you literally watched her like climb over him and be like, excuse me. It's like, what did you think she was going down there for? She just told you there's nothing down there. And then she immediately passed you and went back down there. Like, what did you think she was going there for?
Right.
I would immediately be like, wait a minute, if there's nothing down there, then where are you going? I'm following you.
Right. Let me go look for myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But so it seemed like Chris was the only one of the men that was clued in on this. It seemed, Michaela figured it out. DESI figured it out. So I'm assuming that like that alliance of Michaela, DESI, and Chanel all knew it, and Chris was the only guy that knew it. Huge advantage. Chris wins a daily challenge at a huge, totally crucial time. And I'm just every time that I really honestly wasn't even a huge Chris fan when the season started, and as the weeks have gone by and he's accomplished more and more and he's continued to survive, like I'm rooting for Chris harder than any other guy in there at this point.
All of a sudden, my name changed. Like I don't know, that was not the plan.
Yeah.
Is he the only survivor guy left? Do you think that maybe did Michaela tell him there was another bag down there, or how did he come about that?
DESI told him. Yeah.
Is that because he's the only survivor guy left? Who else is left, men-wise?
I think he is.
Maybe that's part of why. Maybe that's why.
Chris is the only survivor. So, the only survivor guy. Yeah. And it was awesome to see DESI pull out the daily challenge win, though, also because obviously I'm rooting for her to win. She was my winner pick when the season started, but also just like I know she's had some self-doubting issues and things like that, like really questioning herself in the game. So like we're late in the game, and to see her to pull out a win at this stage was really nice to see. Honestly, I thought. And you know what? We've talked about a lot, right? Like in the challenge, especially in the early days, this game was so much more about like honor. There wasn't like as much of the sneaky play and backstabbing and stuff like that. So like, of course it's DESI, like angel of a human being, DESI. That's like, even after Tori comes in with the side eye, they're talking about betrayal. She's not thinking, oh, like, well, now maybe I should put Tori in because she's pissed at me. Like, she's like, no, I'm going to honor the word that I had made Tori, and she didn't put her in, So I love DESI. I love her so much.
Yeah, she's great. Adore her.
Okay, this is the surprise time for Gina. I'm bringing something back.
I love a Gina surprise.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
For a limited time only, because next time this probably won't matter. But there's something about TJ in this episode that I just wanted to see what you guys thought. Talking about TJ's threads. That's right. You know that we love to judge Julie. We love to judge Julie's attire. Every week on Big Brother. Yeah. It took me a while to find that clip, actually, of me singing that stupid little thing.
It's been a minute.
But do you like how I just like make these clips and it's just my, like, whenever, like, the challenge trivia one, this is my.
Well, now it's time for Kyle's favorite game. It's challenge trivia.
Like, this is literally me just sitting in my room.
Up.
No, I'm not hyping myself up, making fun of myself. Like, this is me sitting in my room all alone, trying not to sing too loud so that no one else in my family hears me making these things. But okay, anyway.
Except for me during Big Brother 25, like trying to record the Julie Judgment thing with my mom in the other room.
But anyway, this is not this is not a challenge trivia time. This is a talking TJ's thread time. So, what did you think of this shirt? This shirt in the daily challenge, huh?
What was it? I don't remember.
Look at this man.
Wow, very funky. It's giving me that 70s show.
Right? Like Super Bad, that 70s show.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just excited to see a departure from the typical same outfit every day that I feel like we always get.
You say that all the time. You say that all the time, but he always has different outfits on. Always. Sometimes he's wearing scarves. Sometimes he's wearing a leather jacket. Sometimes he's wearing something like a bomber jacket. You always say that he wears the same thing.
It.
You're out of control, Gina.
This outfit.
Out of control.
I hyped it up.
Matt Blevin says geography teacher looking ass.
Oh my god.
So rude. TJ looks so hot here. Are you kidding me?
No.
Put TJ in
I
more
like
colors,
it.
please. Put TJ in more colors. That
I
man
think
is fine. He is fine as hell.
I think the hair's looking good. Beard, facial hair's looking good, and that's a bold choice with the shirt. He's
come on.
I liked it.
A bold choice with the shirt, and he pulled it off. I thought so.
He sure did.
That's this week's edition of talking about TJ Threads.
Come on,
so
TJ.
Thank you. Yeah,
you better get it, boy.
All right. So, after the daily challenge, of course, we had to have our deliberation between DESI and Chris to see who they would pick. Very easy choice for DESI. Michelle just betrayed her by changing her vote at the last minute. So DESI said, "I want to throw Michelle in." Chris, though, surprised me a little bit, and also seemed to surprise Fessy quite a bit, because Fessy won multiple daily challenges in a row. Chose Chris as the automatic vote. So were you guys surprised at all by these nominations, or at least by Chris's nomination?
I don't know what that was. I don't know why his play was to not target. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, he ends up choosing Josh, which I do get, like, some of the argument that he makes. I feel like people think of Josh as like someone who's constantly working behind the scenes, putting seeds in people's ears, and like, so maybe some of the, the times that Chris was targeted could have been attributed to Josh, but like, I would have just
attributed to Josh, though, because that's how Josh plays this game. As much as he wants to say, "Oh, it's not Big Brother, it's not Survivor, we're playing a challenge," that's actually not true, because that's exactly how he plays. And like, you're going to tell me that Josh was not sitting at a table saying that Chris should go in? He's new. He's Survivor. Like, of course he was behind some of that.
But like, my whole thing is, with the competitors that we have left in the game, there are so many strong men that are like dangerous in physical competitions. Why would you not want to like automatically knock one of them out by pitting them against each other? Like, because clearly I am a fan of Josh, but like, when it comes to, people like Fessy or people like Bennett, like, he doesn't have the same competition prowess as the rest of them. So I don't know why that was the play, as opposed to trying to knock out somebody like Fessy.
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends. I'd be curious to know what they know about where they are in the game. Because even if Fessy is somebody who can win things and can everything, like, it's almost depending on where we are in this whole thing, because they don't know that the finale is right around the corner. Like, not really. Like, TJ says that for weeks, and it's not really like around the corner. So it's like, do I want to get rid of somebody who I think can beat me, or do I want to get rid of somebody who is actively targeting me? Like, what is the more immediate threat?
I think they also wanted to fire just sort of like a warning shot at Josh, was part of the reasoning too, because Josh, they mentioned Josh has not been nominated, hasn't been in elimination yet this season. So then I was trying to remember, and if not, none of us know, maybe Kyler will help us out with this. Has Fessy been either nominated or had to go into elimination this season? I don't, because I could see that being a factor if you just kind of want to put, get somebody on their toes. It's like, oh, they've had it too.
I know he has
won
dailies. He's won dailies, but I don't know that he's ever been in an.
I feel like he has not been in elimination. That does not mean that he was never nominated, by
it could have been
initial noms.
Yeah,
he could have been nominated, and then it ended up being a girls' day, right?
Right.
I don't remember him being nominated, though.
I don't remember that either, to be honest. So I feel like we would have seen just more Fessy in that episode, and we haven't. Kyler says absolutely not. He's only been voted on by Johnny once. So. Which just is for Fessy too, because that also then means that he's playing a much different game this time around than he's played before. Now, I don't know if that's if we can give that to the mix of vets and like newbies or whatever, how this is going. But Fessy is always one of those people that people love to throw in there and like discount what he can do. And like all of a sudden,
which is crazy to me.
Right. I don't really know why. Like the man is an athlete like through and through, but it's like all of a sudden this name is not on anyone's mind. Like no one's saying Fessy. Why is that? Have we finally gotten a hold of what this social game is? Like, I don't know. Give this man his fucking crown.
I mean, hey, I hate defending Fessy, but I've done it like 3 times this season. His strategy and the way that he's been navigating through this particular game is leaps and bounds ahead of what he's done in previous seasons.
You know what it almost looks like? Like, not to compare, but like to compare, because that's why we're here, right? I almost feel like he's kind of playing like a Casey kind of a game. Where like, you know, he's like obviously best friends with Casey. Like we know what their relationship is outside of this, but like, you know, Casey always lays really low. You don't ever see anything about her unless it's Nani related or like she's getting to the final.
I mean, even
and, like,
still, you know, like
now Fessy is kind of playing a similar game.
How long has he been known as Messy Fessy? Because he's always starting shit and he's always the center of everything. I feel like I've barely even seen confessionals from him this season.
No,
like, he's
because we don't need
really low key.
We don't have to confess to anything. We're just playing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm impressed with him this season. I have to say it. I hate to say it, but I have to say it.
I know she hates it, but I love to hear it.
You know that's terrible.
King Fessy, finally, Morgina's on board.
We're gonna get what's Fessy's last name? What's Fessy's last name?
I don't know. I wanted to look it up.
Gina's gonna
starts with an S.
Gina's gonna be trading out that Martinez for Fessy's last name soon.
Let's not get
If anything,
crazy.
I might drop the Underwood for Fessy's last name.
I was gonna say, that's the play.
Anything,
that's the play.
All right. Well, we we had our nominations, Josh and Michelle. And we headed over to the arena to see who they could potentially be facing off against. We had 1 vote for Corey, 1 vote for Chanel, 7 for Cassidy, who just cannot catch a break.
The Lady Clark.
Yeah. She's had to prove herself over and over and over again, going down into elimination. But Cassidy was chosen by the Hopper. So we had a matchup in the elimination of Michelle and Cassidy. And this was an interesting elimination. Hot Wheel, it was called. So basically, it was almost like a tug of war sort of thing. They had this bar between them with a steering wheel at each end, and then in the middle there were these targets that they had to try to light a fuse on. There were different color targets. So I think it was Cassidy trying to get the pink targets, I believe, and then Michelle trying to light the yellow targets. Started off pretty close, pretty gritty matchup. Cassidy got her first one, then Michelle got her first one, so it was tied, and then Cassidy just absolutely ran away with it. Won this thing 6-1, ending Michelle's time in the game and sending her home, and giving Cassidy her 3rd elimination win. Cassidy Clark, absolute beast. What'd you think? Did you guys like this elimination? The explosions?
I did. I really did.
I hated it.
You hated it.
Oh wow!
I did not find it fun to watch. I really
did.
I
really liked it.
Yeah,
I thought they were such a good matchup.
I mean, it's a good matchup. I wish they played something else. Like I did not care for this game at all.
Interesting.
I felt like it was hard as a viewer to really understand who was doing better than who. I didn't know what was happening until things got lit. I don't know. I think this one sucked.
Wow.
Visually appealing, good colors, explosions, sparks and fire.
See, I liked that it was so hard to like, because the two of them really were a very even matchup. So that it was really about like gassing the other one out because they were both right on par with each other.
Yeah. Well,
I'm used to being part of the minority here.
I mean,
Elle's always the naysayer.
Yeah, I am.
It certainly wasn't my favorite elimination we've gotten, but it was okay. The explosions were fun. It looked a little dangerous, honestly. Some of that debris was not landing far away from people, but one
of them like hit the camera at one point, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
please don't do that.
But stay back.
So we now have it's 5-5. left, right? 5 men, 5 women left.
Yep.
And so next episode, we're going to get a double elimination. I think it's a hall brawl.
It looks
and
like
then
a
we'll
hall
be
brawl.
down. Yeah. And then we'll be down to our final 4
Nervous.
for the men and the women. And that'll be our final. I'm very excited.
I'm
rooting
very
for
nervous.
Chris. Yeah. I'm rooting for Chris and Desi.
Yeah. Not even Cassidy, huh? That's so disrespectful.
No, well, because Desi was
You
my
changed
choice
your
from
name
the very
for
beginning.
her.
Exactly.
That's
Your whole
'cause
family name just got changed. Your
Well,
surname.
that's because she's been killing it. Was not expecting her to perform so well in the season, but Desi has always been my winner pick since before the season started. So
That
I
is
can't
true.
I
That
can't
is true.
I can't
Yeah.
take her out of that spot now, even if I'm standing Cassidy pretty hard at the moment.
Hmm.
So but yeah. You guys have any other
Okay.
thoughts on this this episode of the challenge? I think that's all I got.
I don't have anything more from the episode specifically, but there was a few things that people wanted us to kind of circle
Oh, I
back
did see.
to.
I
So-
did see Matt Blevins. We
Matt
never
Blevins
gave an
had-
official hot or not.
Right. Yeah, he had a fun thing there. So yeah, can you bring up TJ again? Let's give it
You
another
got it.
gander.
There we go.
Obviously, in typical Strat Chat fashion, we like to do Julie judgment, and we give a hot or a not to Julie's fashion of the week. And we had dropped talking TJ's threads, because it was all much of the chagrin of Gina Martinez. But apparently it's back and we're doing it. So now we're talking these threads and we want to know, hot or not. I'm going to say this was a hot and a half. Okay. Smoking.
He said hot and a half.
Hot
yeah.
and a half. Hoot and a half.
I'm
Hot and a half.
singed. Yes, I'm singed by how hot this is. Good for you, TJ.
I'll give it a hot also.
Yes, way to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'll also go hot. I like this. I do like it.
Wow.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Scorching. All right, so that was our first circle back thing. The next circle back actually came from Kyler, feeling that we skipped the Michelle and Michaela.
Oh,
fight.
yeah, we like
glossed over. We didn't really
just
get
yeah.
into
It was mentioned, but not really discussed very much.
All right, and I'm happy that we're circling back to this one, because Michaela really gave us one of the best lines in the entire episode. She goes, "If you want a different result, play a different game." All in response to the Michelle down. Okay.
Michelle
yeah.
Michelle down. Yes, because obviously, Michelle's like a feeling, oh, everybody's attacking me and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but you're getting all the energy that was deserved you. Honestly, I want to give so many points to Michaela in this moment, because last week I feel like we were talking a little bit about how maybe the fact that Michaela removes so much emotion from the game is maybe detrimental, where Michelle is like a weird opposite. But like not so much. Like she's just all over the place, and she thinks that no matter who she's talking to, it should just be accepted. And like she thinks she's appealing to the audience she's speaking to, and like she's just like not. She doesn't have the read on these people as they say they do, and I don't think she was done a service by including in the edit that she's like, oh, people said that I'm the most undeserving Survivor winner, and it's like, well. I'm not really one to say that someone does not deserve to win. I wasn't there, right? Whoever wins is decided by a jury of their peers, right? And that your peers are the people who you play the game with. So I don't want to say you don't deserve it, but it didn't feel great to me.
Yeah. Not
and your
hear you.
behavior here.
I know. And I really like Michaela, but I do think that like there's a part of me that like doesn't agree with everything that Michaela's been doing and saying either, because I feel like she was not the one in danger, right? When she won the last daily challenge, was going so hard towards her alliance of we got to put Tori in, even though it wasn't her on the chopping block. We saw in this episode, obviously Michelle having her meltdown, but we saw Desi literally in tears confessing to Tori that she was a vote. Like, this is all because of Michaela. You know what I mean? And like, this is supposed to be this Survivor alliance. And it's like, I do like while I like Michaela and I like a lot of things she does and how she plays the game, I feel like it is a little bit sloppy. Everybody that you're working with, obviously Michelle was part of that before she betrayed the vote, but then Desi and Chanel also, like the four of you were like working together, like you were planning this whole thing, and like look at what it's caused. Like I know Michaela takes the emotions out of it, but Michelle's having a meltdown. Desi is in tears. Like these are supposed to be your allies, and like because of what Michaela wanted in the game, everybody seems like they're spiraling, and Michaela's just sitting there eating.
Well, hold on now, because like this would not have happened. Desi would not. You're putting Desi being in tears on Michaela, where I don't really think that's necessarily fair, because I don't think that Desi would have been in tears had Michelle backed her on that vote. That's not Michaela's fault. Like Michelle failed her.
I don't know. I think we still would have had that though, because like if Michelle had voted the way they wanted and the Hopper didn't choose Tori, I think Tori's still coming into that room saying, "All right, who voted for me?" And Desi's going to have the same reaction, I think.
And that's on Desi though. Then that's the game. That's the game.
Right, of course. But I think it all stems back to Michaela pushing so hard for Tori when that's not what her alliance wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so easy for Michaela to sit there being like, this is what we should be doing. This is what we have to do, when she's the one that's safe and in power, and everyone else that she's working with is potentially going to have to go in against Tori. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's not taking anyone else in her alliance's thoughts into consideration, and it's just like, we have to do this. Whereas like I don't know if Michaela would be so willing to say like, I'll be the one to go against Tori if it was Chanel that had the nomination that week, or Desi being the one nominating.
Like we don't know that, because like these are not people who are ever finding themselves in a place of power. So then we're going to fault Michaela for winning and then trying to advance something that does make sense for everyone's game, because at the end of the day you really don't want Tori in that final. So like,
sure, yeah.
If we're not doing it now, and we didn't do it before, we're not going to do it later. So when are we going to do it? I guess we're just not. Like,
right.
At what point are we actually going to like do something here? And it's not Michaela's fault being in power when it's finally time to say, hey, these numbers are dwindling. What the hell are we doing, y'all?
Right. But like, I get that. I totally agree. But like, at some point you have to do it. But like, I just think it's very easy for Michaela to be sitting in the position she is, pushing this on people. Because then we did get
who else is going to say it though? Because like, otherwise Tori will win, and then the conversation is not happening. So,
but like, well, we did get a little window into though this week, what the rest of the alliance is thinking, because Desi did win. She did have power, and she didn't put Tori in, even though there are even less numbers now. You know what I mean? It's like you're butting heads with your alliance, making people upset.
When
and it's like,
when is that?
Desi won the daily challenge this week, and
this past episode.
And she did.
But she only did that because she felt guilty about the fact that this whole thing went down the way that it did. She may still have felt guilty, and like, but that's you can't put that on Michaela.
No, but I do
that the plan didn't go through.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like
that is
how
fair.
we damage control. Or
that's fair, but then I do wonder, then did Michaela, by forcing the issue with Tori last week, did she almost shoot herself in the foot? Because it was kind of supposed to be like this agreement of like, Tori protected us for 2 weeks. Now Michaela wins 2 weeks in a row. Let's protect Tori. Now maybe everything's even. And now maybe Desi could have taken a shot and made Tori the main vote this week. But she feels so like broken up about like betraying Tori when Michaela was in power that now Tori's still good. You know what I mean? It's like, if we had just kept our word, Tori protected us for 2 weeks, Michaela protects Tori for 2 weeks. Now we're all fair game. Desi wins. Main vote, Tori's in there, got to go up against somebody. You know what I mean? It's like,
I can appreciate that, but I'm also not so sure that like Michaela deserves all the blowback for that. Like, I wonder how Desi would have felt if if Michelle had backed the entire thing from the beginning, and then we were moving forward as a united front. You may not have felt that Tori was such a destructive force, like she's such a destructive threat rather. And it's like, because like I'm standing with these ladies over here, with Michelle not backing it, that starts distrust in the entire foundation of what you have going on here. And now it's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I guess I better make amends with her, because I don't know if I should trust any of these ladies. All right, because Chanel, while I can trust her, listen, she hasn't won dick. Okay, so like she's not really gonna get me anywhere. Like Michaela, she's a little bit too tough. I would be nervous about teaming up with her too. There's another layer to this, right? Because she's so emotionless that it's almost jarring. And it's like, at what point will you now decide that I don't serve any purpose in your game? There's just so many things. There's so many things.
Yeah, that's what's great about this, is that like I agree with so many things that you're saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like you probably do agree with some things that I'm saying, but like there's so many layers to it, and so many, and like we're speculating on some things, and we're talking about things that have actually happened in the past, and it's like there's no right or wrong like answer to this.
Yeah,
because who the hell knows?
I think we're underplaying Michelle's hand in this. Everyone's acting as like, oh, well, it's just Michelle, like whatever, she didn't do this thing, and it's like, but that distrust is what can crumble an entire alliance, and I think that could be what we're starting to see with these ladies here, or we're already seeing. So yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's very fair. I just feel like I don't know what it is. For whatever reason, I just feel like, and maybe it's because it's done more publicly or whatever, but I feel like Michelle will do the same things a lot of times as other people, and it just gets like way more dragged out than other people that do those same things. But that doesn't mean that she didn't deserve to get any blowback. It just feels like, she changes her vote, something that people have done a million times on this show, and it's like she's getting ganged up on in that room, yelled at about she's having a meltdown and this and that. And like, sure, she was having a meltdown, but like, it's the first time that somebody's changed their vote before. I don't know. Especially because she did say, like, she said, like, I've been working, like she said, like, I've been working with the vets. I've been working with Survivor. That's the same thing that DESI and Chanel have been doing, working with Survivor, but also having this deal with Tori. Everybody's doing the same thing in there.
Absolutely. Yes, they are. And this comes back to that other thing, not to circle back, but to circle back. And like, because Michelle, again, wants to act like there should never be any blowback for the decisions that she makes. So there are so many different layers to everything that's like being discussed here. And it's like, but Michelle like wants to act like, well, I just made this decision. It's what's best for me. And it's like, okay, well, it wasn't necessarily what was best for us. So that, again, it forms that distrust. How do I move forward with you? And moving forward with Michaela is scary because she is emotionless. So like, now what do we do? What does this mean for the four of us? 1, 2, 3 of us, 4 of us. How many of us? What does this mean?
Yeah, it's also wild. Because we have seen this I will say there was one thing in that argument. Michelle brought up that Michaela was pushing super hard for a girls' day, which Michaela denied. She said, no, I was never pushing for that. Meanwhile, we literally saw Cassidy and Michaela fighting about this exact thing. Like, Cassidy was like, I understand you nominated me, but like, can you not just push so hard for it to be a girls' day? And Michaela was like, no, I'm going to push for it to be a girls' day. Like, week after week, Michaela is like super pumped to make it a girls' week. And I just thought that was funny in that argument that like, Michaela's denying things too. She's been doing the same sort of stuff. And, in this whole meltdown, Michelle's, the main focus of it, because it's like, she's the one having like the more public and crazy breakdown, but like Michaela's lying in there too. Like, she's done things that she's now denying. So I don't know.
This is the challenge.
But I think that's all I got for this. Anybody got any other thoughts?
Sounds like I've had enough.
No. I know, you know what it is? I'm realizing it's 10:25 and we are technically scheduled to start Big Brother at 10:30. So I figured, if anybody's got to go to the bathroom before we start or something, give us a little
tinkle.
I also, my only parting words are, I'm very nervous for the next episode because they did say in the next Dom that is going to be like the betrayal and the blind side, like unseen ever before in the challenge. And I just know that means it's Josh or Fessy. I'm stressed out about it. I'm really stressed out. I'm like sweating.
Honestly, I feel like that could mean that Chris wins the daily challenge again, because like I feel like we wouldn't be getting all that like if one of the vets won it, because then we would know Chris is just going to be the main nom.
Right.
Like the fact that like we're talking about this, right? It makes me feel like Chris is going to win the daily.
I'm really stressed out about it.
I would love that. Do the family name proud.
Yeah. But all right. Well, I guess that's it, right? I guess that's it for this week's discussion of the Challenge USA. We are very close to the final. What do you got, Kyle?
Wait, hold on. I had one more note. And I think it definitely is worth discussing because there was a little bit of like Chanel slander. Cassidy keeps making these points about how Chanel has not proven herself because she's never been down in the sand and blah, 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 blah. You got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself. Do you think that maybe we're too old school focused and like we're not putting enough focus on the social game of this? You know, because I think there's certainly something to be said that Chanel is brand new to this entire game, brand new to the vets, its whole political and social structure that is definitely separate from Survivor, separate from Big Brother, separate from anything else. And she has managed to not really garner votes. There's certainly something to be said for that. And like you're talking about, you should prove yourself by being down here. This is not American Gladiators. You know, this is still essentially like a social game. So like,
yeah,
are we selling Chanel a little bit like with that?
Not to mention, correct me if I'm wrong because the details are a little fuzzy, but in that like oil wrestling where Michaela was in that like really crazy matchup, wasn't that with Chanel or was that not?
Yeah, they were the final two. There was a good
So
chance
you're going to tell me that
Chanel
didn't prove herself as a competitor?
Right. This is what I'm saying. Like, we're not putting enough focus on the social end of what this game is. And that certainly counts for something because we certainly know that Tiffany Mitchell coming into this game is not going to be able to put up the same way physically as the rest of some of these ladies. It's not a knock. It's just a fact. And it's like, so, but if she would have made it this far, we would have given her a lot of credit and a lot of clout for the social end of things because she navigated a largely physical game and got to the end without being touched. So like Chanel is not awarded those same graces. I don't know. Honestly,
it would be wild if like in this final episode, Chanel took out Cassidy in an elimination or something.
Oh my gosh. It would be
how
so
wild would that be?
That is exactly what you get for all the editing of like her talking all this shit. Like, oh, there's one person who's never been down here. And all of a sudden the camera refocuses and Chanel is the one standing like right behind her. Oh my gosh. It'd be such poetic justice.
I would feel bad for Cassidy, but because she's definitely played a great game, but that would be something. After the events of the last couple of weeks, like Chanel taking out Cassidy would be, that would be crazy.
It'd be a good watch.
Delicious. Yum, 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 yum. But all right, now I'm done. That was my last note.
Nice. That was a very good note.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks for validating.
What do we have going on? We have our final stream of the night kicking off in just a few moments. We'll be talking about Big Brother 25. Approximately, let's say, 10:35 p.m. Eastern time, something like that.
That's super safe. That's super safe to say.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about Big Brother 25, the events of the week so far that we know of, and we'll get into some spoilers, right? Because we do know other things.
We do.
Yeah. And then, that's right, we know things. And then Thursday, we'll be talking about Big Brother 25 again at 11:15 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes.
And then we'll be back for another Mega Manwan Monday next Monday. Same schedule, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Survivor, 9:30 p.m. Eastern The Challenge, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Big Brother 25. So that's what we have coming up. We hope that you'll hang out with us. Find us on the socials at StratChatPod, including Blue Sky.
That's right.
Throw us a like, a comment, a subscription, all that.
Yes, where the skies are blue and blue.
Where the skies are blue and blue.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.